Namaste and welcome to today's pranayama practice. So you might be doing this before your asana practice or maybe at the end of your asana before meditation or maybe just on its own. But either way, we're going to talk a little bit about prana Vayu. It's a little confusing because prana refers to the life force that is believed to travel on the air. But it's also one of the Vayus, or one of the winds of the body. And if you remember from the root chakra, and also a little bit in the sacral chakra, I think we worked with the Apana Vayu, which is the downward movement of the winds of the body, or the Vayus. And we use that for grounding in our physical body. And then we also talked about Samana Vayu, which is digestion, the circular movement of the energy of the Vayus. And now prana Vayu is really the movement of the air that's very simple because it's really how the breath works, of the breath moving into the heart center and expanding out into the lungs. And so when we're working with our breath and prana Vayu, especially when we're working with our back bends in our asana practice, rather than grasping for that air, or trying to gulp that air in, we want to think of just allowing the breath to pour in effortlessly, as though someone had a pitcher and was pouring this liquid breath, this liquid prana into our bodies as we move through our practice. And then we're also going to work with Viloma Pranayama, which is kind of 3 steps of breath to really bring awareness and breath into this heart center. So let's start with Ujjayi breath, which we've worked with in all 3 chakras so far. And so you can sit with your eyes closed. And sit comfortably with a nice tall spine, long through the back of the skull, so the back of the neck is long and the chin slightly in so that your head sits perfectly over top of your heart center. And begin to find your breath and just start with belly breath. That seems to be the easiest way to settle into your body and into the practice. Let's turn that music down a little bit. And begin to create that little restriction in the back of the throat, beginning to initiate your Ujjayi breath so that your breath starts to sound like the ocean. So not only can we feel our breath, but we begin to hear our breath as well. And we always want to start with our equal breath, so whether your count is to a count of 4, or maybe it's naturally to a count of 6, whatever works for you. Just let your inhale and exhale be the same length with your Ujjayi breath on both inhale and exhale. Continue working with that equal breath for just a couple more rounds, breathing into the belly. And then we're going to switch up how we're breathing into the body, and we're going to bring that envisioning of the breath just effortlessly pouring in, as though someone was pouring liquid breath from a pitcher. Just let that breath pour in and let it leave the body just as effortlessly. Can you imagine your breath as liquid, just gently pouring in as though you're drinking a glass of water? One more round of breath like this. And then we're going to start with our Viloma breath. And this is, we'll inhale 3 different, a third, and a third. And then we'll exhale everything out in one long exhale. And so we're going to start with this particular variation of breathing into the heart center first, letting that breath pour in. We pause, and then we expand into the lower lungs. Feel the ribs expand in all directions, 360 degrees. And then we breathe into the belly last. This takes a little bit of thinking. So breathe in a third into the heart center. Feel your chest expand, and maybe you bring your hands here to feel that expansion. And then bring your hands down to the lower ribs and breathe in a little more. And pause here, bring your hands to your belly and breathe all the way in. And slowly exhale everything out. So we're going to keep repeating that. You can bring your hands up here to inhale in all directions into the heart center. Pause. Hands to the low ribs. Inhale more. Feel the hands expand, the ribs expand into the hands. And then hands to the belly. Inhale the last third. Pause. And slowly exhale everything out. So we're going to keep going with this. You can keep moving your hands if that helps you. Starting at the upper ribs. Pausing. Expand the inhale more into the lower ribs. Pausing. And then expand into the belly. Pausing. And exhaling everything out. Inhale into the upper ribs, all directions. Pausing. Inhale into the lower ribs. Pausing. Inhale into the belly. Pausing. And exhaling everything out. Let's do 3 more rounds like that. Inhale, upper ribs. Heart center, let the breath pour in like liquid. Pause. Inhale the lower ribs. Pause. Let more breath pour in into the belly. Pause. And slowly exhale everything out. Upper ribs, heart center, upper back. Pause. Low ribs, all directions. Pause. Belly, all the way down to the belly. Fill with air and pause. Exhale everything out. Last round. Upper ribs, heart center. Pausing. Lower ribs. Expanding. Pausing. Belly center. Expanding, completely filling with that liquid breath as we pause and hold on to that prana in that liquid breath. And let it all go. Now, just coming back into your normal breath here for a few rounds. And imagining that breath effortlessly being poured into your body without you having to do anything. And as you exhale, imagine that breath traveling out into every part of your body, filling your body with prana. Let's do a couple more breaths with this visualization. Inhale, let the breath effortlessly pour in like liquid, expanding the lungs in all directions. And then as you exhale, imagine it extending out into every part of your body, through your shoulders, your arms, out your fingertips. And one more breath like that. And if your eyes are closed, you can slowly let your eyes float open. And thank you so much for joining me for this pranayama practice. I hope you are managing to at least do some pranayama every day, even if it's just sitting for a few minutes with ujjayi breath and equal breath. It's really, really important. It really works on the subtle body, so it's not as obvious as what you feel in your body, but the effects are great. So thank you again for joining me on your mat, and we'll see you in the next practice.